voting item this evening, starting with 10 Endicott Street. So petitioner Michael Della Russo is seeking to extend existing elevator to stop at the existing roof deck for ADA accessibility. Ryan Gosler, I know we have Bill Ferrulos here as well. And Mike, you're on the call as well. So are you all able to unmute yourselves at this time?
This is Bill Ferrulo.
Hi, everybody. Ryan here as well.
Good evening, folks. I'm representing the Della Russo family. Bob and Maria Della Russo started the project at 210 Endicott Street in 2013. The building is principally up. Michael, who's on this call, is their son and also the general contractor for the building. Along with everything else that's been going on, Maria Della Russo had a stroke this past spring and had the intention with her husband to move into one of the units in the building, which will now be a handicapped accessible unit. In conjunction with that, the elevator that's in this building did not go to the roof in the original plan that was approved. The original plan did have a head house for the elevator override, is what it's called, and a head house for the staircase. Both of those are in the new plan. The difference being that the head house for the elevator, in order to go to the roof, needs an additional 7 feet 8 inches for the elevator override up on the roof. Brett, we gave you a set of plans.
Yep, what I'm going to do is share those plans right now, so that way.
The two that would be helpful, Brett, are A-2.1 and A-2.2. Those two show.
All right, so 2.1.
2.1, we can start with that one. If you look at this, this is the street view from Endicott Street. You see a larger head house that's blank. That is the elevator that will come to the roof, correct, including an additional 7 foot 8 inches that's been added to it. If it hadn't been added to it, it would be level with the second head house that you see to the right of it, which is the staircase head house. So what's happened is we've increased that in order to accommodate the elevator, resulting in one of the violations that you have on the refusal letter, and that's 5418. A quick explanation is the code not then provides that you should use either a bulkhead or a hatch for roof access, and that in constructing a head house, you have to have zoning board relief from this article 54-18. We had that on the original plan, which we can give to you as well. But now that we've extended it, we have to go back and receive that grant of what's called a conditional use relief. In addition, when this head house went up, we gathered some storage area to use for anything that goes up onto the roof. So that also resulted in some additional floor area ratio. The building itself, the contents of the building, the 4 apartments don't change. Nothing gets larger about those. As mentioned, the parents, Robert and Maria, will reside on the first floor apartment, and one of the other sons, also Robert, who has Boston Barbers, will be living on the top floor with his wife. So those are the 2 issues that'll be at the Board of Appeal. We have no date, no idea when they'll get to this, but Brett thought it'd be a good idea to get it on soon so that we could take the August meeting off.
Yeah. So here's Bill, if I was gonna show the overhead floor plan, all right? If you just want to go, you want to go through this or no?
Well, the existing floor plans, I'll describe the building, that's probably easier, is the ground floor, you can see it in this particular drawing, has a ground floor garage. You see the 2 garage doors that's set up there. It has 4 apartments above it. And in this drawing of it, the side drawing, you see the lower level of the roof is that has a triangular piece on the right of it. That's the staircase that comes up to the roof. And then behind that is the elevator shaft and the elevator override.
Okay.
And for location purposes, 210 Endicott is the end of the street just before you get to what used to be the gas station on North Washington and Endicott, across from Massimino's and the St. Anthony's Club, etc.
So it's right. So this building right here is the last parking now, right? It's the parking lot, right?
Yes, that building there is the garage portion of the triangular piece of the corner.
Okay. All right. Thank you. But anything else you want to go over? I know this is hard to kind of just do this with me, just clicking through the plans and everything like that for you. But is there anything else you want to go over?
That's the 5-minute mark.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to open it up to questions from the council. So I'll leave this screen share up. Actually, hold on. I'm going to stop sharing. I can bring it back up if we need to. All right. Okay. So is there any other questions from the council here that we have? Feel free to unmute yourselves and start.
Yeah. Has there been any abutter feedback?
We had one meeting with the Benetti family who's across the street. They're supportive of this. Michael, who's on this call somewhere, I think has talked to some of the other individuals on the street. Michael, can you answer to that?
Hey, how's it going? Denise Clancy, who owns the building that's directly to the building's right, and she's been fine with us during the whole process of construction, and she doesn't have a problem with it at all. And the Moretti's across the street, the Benetti's across the street, and we all have been on board since the beginning.
Okay. So just so everyone's clear, so like this is the addition that's the bulkhead that's being put onto the top right here. So it's how high do you think, how much higher do you think that the elevator shaft's going to be compared to the existing head house right there?
It's actually on the building.
This is on the building existing?
The head house is up on the building as it stands now, correct?
All right. Yeah. Any other questions from anyone on the council? Okay, I'll open it up to the public, open it up to anyone else, any of our attendees.
I have a question.
Yes, Carly.
Carly Tobias. I'm from 198 Endicott Street. I own apartment 2. I'm been there for about 4 years. Our building has noticed that shaft. We just didn't ever see that in the plans. Our building is probably 3 buildings over from 210, and our building is the second highest to 210 as well. So we've completely lost our view of the bridge. I mean, not that it was much of a bridge, but it soon will be, hopefully. But we were kind of very confused because that building never had a roof deck before, and it never had an elevator shaft, and that was never, mentioned from the beginning. So I didn't, it's pretty abstract out there. And that's kind of our concerns, that it's very big. And then that's about it with just with this construction. I just didn't understand how long this construction is going to be going on for. We have had some couple of issues, at least our building has, with graffiti getting on the roof decks. Since this construction has started, our building got graffitied pretty badly, which was devastating to us, and we have to figure out how to clean it up. But we're kind of bummed out to see this go up there. It's big. And I've heard of an elevator shaft going up.
So Michael Bell, if you guys want to answer.
Yeah, let me start, and then Michael can chime in. The original building on the site was a wooden structured building that was 3 stories. This building that you now see, as mentioned, went through a complete community process in 2013 and 2014. It started in 2013, went to the Board of Appeal by 2000. I'm sorry, it started in 2013, went to the board in 2014. During which time, we met with all the abutters, et cetera. The original construction, the building that you see, was supported by both groups unanimously back in those days. And as I say, the only change that you're seeing now is that structure that is there to maintain the elevator shaft is going up by, as mentioned, 7 foot 8 inches. So the rest of the building, as I say, has been through the process. Those plans are on file. Nothing changed about that. It is a number of years ago, but Michael can give you a status of how complete the building is at this time.
Well, I mean, the only change that was made was the additional override for the elevator shaft, which is 7 feet 8 inches. So anything, and it's only the size of the shaft itself, which is about 7 by 10 roughly. So that's the only change that was made from the original approved drawings and the neighborhood process that we went through. As far as the status of the building goes, we are in a position right now to brick the building up. All the interior rough is done, and we're getting ready to close up the walls. So, we're about 3 to 6 months out of completing the project and moving on from Endicott Street. And I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said happened to your roof deck. Some devastation you mentioned. What was that caused by?
Let me just unmute myself. So we've, at least our building and the building next to us, has gotten graffiti tagged on it. And that was, when was that? Was that last summer? It was last summer that we got tagged with graffiti. I don't know, NEP. I'm sure you guys see that name all around the north end, but he went up onto our roof deck and tagged it completely. This was at like the beginning stages of you before you recorded your building. That was just a big bummer. I don't know how somebody could get up onto the roof decks other than from the construction. And then I just didn't know we just never saw the elevator shaft. So we were very confused, like how that got added into the plans from.
Well, the elevator shaft goes from the basement all the way to the roof. So you wouldn't see or know anything about it until we extended the override.
Yeah.
So then when you see us extend the override, then you see that something that you maybe not know that was happening in the building. But the elevator shaft was always going in the building. I apologize if something happened to your building and you feel like it was caused by the construction, but I can't control breaking and entering and graffiti. That's for the police department.
No, dude, I understand that completely. I mean, and you guys, I think before, you guys have taken the ladders and done the best you can to secure that that section, that construction. But our condo was wondering, it just seems like it was the construction was longer. We're curious when it was going to be finished, and the elevator shaft, because we never knew there was an elevator in there and that there was a roof deck on that building, so we never noticed it before. And some of us about 10 years. So we just wanted to know just kind of have some answers and clarification on that, because it was just like one day there's a huge elevator shaft and we're like, we don't remember that ever being in the plans or what was shown to us at the beginning.
Yeah, I apologize for that. The plans, a lot of these projects, the plans changed in the midst of them, and there's not enough time for us to move from one thing to the other. And we changed the plans in the midst of it, and we're in for approval, and that's why we're here today.
Okay. So since it's already up and like the elevator shaft is already up, it looks like it's there. So is that just, does that mean it's going to be, it's approved at this point, or is that?
No, it's not approved yet.
If I could add in, Holly, the original elevator shaft, as mentioned, was approved. That elevator shaft was similarly, it was 8 feet on the original plan. So what's happened is that 8-foot elevator shaft, or head house is the better name for it, is now had an additional 7 foot 8 inches added.
In order to accommodate it going up to the roof access now. So you had to make room for the mechanicals and everything at the top. So that way now instead of it being 8 feet, it's now going up this high.
Right, Brett, if you take that pointer, you see where the staircase elevator shaft height is.
Yep.
That would have been the same height as what's next to it. And what's been added on is the area above that height.
Okay.
So that has been in the plan, that has been part of the project since 2013.
Yes. I think I was still interning for the council then. But yeah, all right. So this is the issue that I just want to make this clear for all the council members that we're voting on. So this is to go up this high to make room for the mechanicals, so the top floor can be ADA accessible. And to Carly, to understand your points and to what you understand is that it's the loss of view right here that is obstructing the obstruction of the view of the bridge, maybe. So you live right here, if I understand correctly, Carly? Oh, you have to unmute. Hold on.
Is that our building right there? Yeah, we live right there. It used to be one of the tallest buildings out of these buildings before. Like we have a view of the bridge. I mean, it wasn't anything pretty at the time, but we did have a good view.
Did your view end once they built up, or are you saying that your view, you have no view as a direct result of this elevator?
Like we would have had like a half view, but not really. I mean, it ended once that building was like up.
Yeah. Okay.
Our view was completely taken.
Wait, the view is from your roof deck though, right?
Yeah, our view is from our roof deck.
But it's over 2 other buildings. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we completely lost. It was a nice view, but we lost it. I mean, we were just bummed, and then all of a sudden we got in, and then we started seeing the elevator shaft go up, and the building keeps growing and growing. We're like, what is happening? Because we never saw, we never even knew there was an that building.
So Carly, thank you for your comments. Michael, Bill, thank you for your replies and getting this addressed. I mean, obviously the graffiti part is a separate issue, and that I'm sorry to hear that, but again, that I would keep that separate from this project and the contents of what we're voting on here tonight. So are there any other questions from any other council members or anyone else in the audience tonight?
Wait, I just want to confirm, this isn't going to go any higher, correct? The elevator shaft isn't going any higher, or you guys are?
No, it's not going any higher.
Okay, all right.
Okay. All right, so with no other questions, I'm not seeing anything here. What I'm going to do is ask all the council members to reserve their vote until the conclusion of the meeting. And then what we'll do is just at the very end, we'll tally up all the votes on both voting items at the end of the night, okay? So I would like to move on to our next agenda item, 4401 to 445 Hanover Street, Table Mercato. Petitioner seeking to change occupancy of 441 Hanover Street to include a takeout use to operate in the same building and in connection with existing restaurant. Table by Jen Royle at 445 Hanover Street. Work will include the installation of 2 deli cases, countertops, new lighting, replacing sinks and finishing floors. The existing CV license with malt, wine, and beer will cover the space. Oh, hold on, I'm still talking here. Okay, so it will cover the space at 441 Hanover Street for the proposed takeout market. I see Jen on the call as here tonight as well. Is Tom or anyone else
I am here, yep.
representing? All right, perfect. Tom, here you are.
Yep.
So Tom, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Brett and members of the board. I am here with Jen Royle of the existing restaurant Table, which she opened last year. As many of you know, she's been offering her well-made, high-quality Italian food in a family-style format at communal tables. We all know that situation has had to change over the last couple months due to the COVID crisis. And she has shifted her model currently from mostly on-premise, though we're starting to get back to that, thank goodness, to one focused on takeout. What this allowed her to do was solidify a thought she'd been considering prior to this whole COVID situation as it's currently situated. To that end, she has leased the space adjacent to hers. It's in the same building. And in order to operate a takeout business going forward, after, hopefully we get back to normal someday, and as an ongoing use. The plan is to use the existing kitchen at 445 Hanover, which to prepare the items for takeout and delivery, and not delivery, but I apologize, takeout for people to come pick up and take home with them, or back to the office for lunch. And then to that end, we have that means we have to extend the existing CV license, CV wine and malt, to the new space in order to allow her to use that kitchen, the existing kitchen, for the new space. We have also applied to change the DBA, which is just a technical issue. The DBA for the existing space will stay the same. And then immediately next to it is it will be a very similar sign. I have pictures I can show you in 1 second. Just same idea, table with just the name Mercato underneath. So it's a technical thing required by the ABCC and the licensing board. And we've also applied, because in this area, the takeout use is forbidden, we've filed an appeal with the ZBA to allow this use. This should be, we're not making any changes to the existing space. We're not expanding the existing space, no more tables. It is just a takeout use to complement the demand she has seen increased since COVID has hit, and to allow her to fill the need of the that her customers are asking. And I'm going to quickly bring this up as long as I can share my screen. There we go. Okay, can everybody see that? Or can
Yes, and Tom, I just want to let you know that you're at the 2-minute mark.
2 minutes to go or remaining?
2 minutes remaining.
Okay, this will be relatively quick. This is just a picture of the exterior of the building. Picture of the exterior of the building. The existing restaurant is on the left. We're hoping to expand into the space on the right. Here's the floor plan for the new space. You can see here we have the counters, a little bit of standing and waiting area, prep areas. There's a bathroom on site, though that is for employees. As I said, I have pictures of the table, of the sign. As you can see, it's very much, for those of you who know the existing sign, This is very much in theme with the existing sign. And here's a proposed menu. It is focused on takeout, with coffee, some to-go desserts, some biscotti, 3 different types of sandwiches, some arancini, prepackaged pestos and sauces, some antipasti, some bread. Like I said, the focus is takeout. This is not expanding the existing use. And I'll stop sharing. If somebody wants me to show something, I can go back later. I don't have anything else at this point, but I'm happy to answer whatever questions the board and the members of the area have.
Thank you, Tom. First question, just for you, just so I can understand clearly. So the liquor license that exists at 445, will alcohol be allowed for takeout from there as well? So like, will you be able to sell 6 packs of beer? Will you be able to sell bottles of wine?
I'm sorry to interrupt. No, so technically no. At this point during the state of emergency, on-premise retailers are allowed to sell for off-premise. That is an exemption made during, because of the COVID crisis. This is an on-premise license. So once that is lifted, we will not be able to sell alcohol to go. It will solely be, the only reason we're extending this is because the alcohol license is also her license to serve food. So it needs to be extended to cover the full space. But no, she will not be able to sell a 6-pack to go with anything aside from the current existing state of emergency.
Thank you,
Okay,
Tom.
I have a question. So has construction, has remodeling begun yet in the space?
I don't believe so. There might have been some removal of the previous tenants' fixtures, but I don't believe any new construction has.
Okay, because I saw a sign that was up saying that it was opening soon, so I just thought maybe some work was already going on.
No, I mean, we have to go through this process. We have to go through the zoning process. It'll be a while.
Okay, so the other question is, did you represent Ms. Royle the first time she came before the board?
I don't believe I was representing her at the time she came before the board, no.
Okay, and I got a question for Brett.
Well, yeah, I was saying, Damien, I can ask. So here's the concern, I guess, that we have on the council here, is that at 445 that was previously approved. So the point of this license is to extend the license that was approved, CV, to extend the CV license and the liquor license from a premise at 445 onto 441. So
yes,
when 445 was approved in 2018, May of 2018, it was approved for, I believe, private events such as bridal showers, rehearsal dinners. It was supposed to be 15 to 40 people max, 1 table, using induction stoves as a kitchen in the upstairs with downstairs as food storage. At least from what we were able to vote on and to accommodate with liquor, wine, to approve the liquor license with that setup and underneath that as the concept and as a restaurant concept. So to sit there and see a restaurant that now is open to the public, I mean, because this is in a very sensitive area of the North End. This is an area that no one gets restaurants approved past the firehouse ever. At least in the amount of time that I've lived in the North End or anything like that. And I can speak for a bunch of us that lived in the North End for a while and have seen that end by the firehouse, not see any restaurants or any development. So with the proposal of no gas stoves or no ovens or no nothing, just induction burners up top to reheat food and to prepare food upstairs. We've noticed that in the past year, there's now ventilation going up the side of the building used for oven, stove, for food prep downstairs in the basement, which was not, we were not under the understanding that this is previously what was going to be happening there. And I guess the long story short, the long-winded way of getting around it is that we approved something back in May of 2018 as a council under the assumption that it'd be used for a different use and for a different purpose to benefit a business that was used for her personal catering and personal private party attending or hosting. And to see it turn into a restaurant, a full-blown restaurant at a point now with 2 tables, regular seating on I believe weekends straight through and through. to now extend those, that license that was granted, not even granted by us, or that we didn't approve back then 2 years ago, to now see that license be extended onto not just one space, but to a new space, a budding space, now with the takeout use, is just something that just somewhat of a concern of the council. And I just wanted to make that clear and bring that up and just make that point. So it's more of a comment, more of a question to see what may have happened. We understand that plans change, things happen, things come up. And I guess the first question we would have is to what happened with the original concept, and why was the need for that to change and kind of catch us all off guard on all of those members.
Absolutely. I can.
And also, why not come back to the council when you know you're not doing what you initially said you were going to do? So neighbors that maybe didn't want to see something going on, they would have actually shown up and attended the meeting and maybe had some questions to get more clarification on what the intentions were.
What I can say is that as I mentioned, I wasn't representing, and my firm wasn't representing Jen at that point. So I wasn't aware of what the previous presentation was.
I think that your client said that she would be able to comment on that. That's what I just heard.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Absolutely.
I also think it'd be appropriate as well, seeing that you weren't a part of it before.
Hi,
Absolutely.
Tom, I can answer.
Okay, please go ahead.
So the plan that I brought to you was exactly what was happening. And then my kitchen and my plans were rejected by the Board of Health. So I brought all of my induction and all of my kitchen plans to the Board of Health, and they stamped me rejected. They told me that everything I had to have in my kitchen had to be commercial, which was not my understanding when I initially started the process. So my kitchen went from something that I had purchased at Yale for about $15,000, went to exactly what I did not want, which was a commercial kitchen for $40,000. So that was very upsetting to me, because that's not what I wanted for private events. When you go to a baby shower or a bridal shower, people are always in the kitchen. They're always hanging around the marble countertop. And I didn't get approved. I tried to get out of my lease. My landlord would not let me. I was over the 30-day mark. And then my contractor came to me and told me that I had to vent to the roof for $65,000. And I again tried to get out of my lease, and I couldn't. And not that anyone cares, I probably cried for a month. It was a horrific experience because it's not what I wanted. In fact, in my lease, my landlord sat with me. He passed my concept, and then he said to me, if you become a restaurant, your rent will go up $1,000. And I said, you don't have to worry. I will never, ever open a restaurant. Well, my rent went up $1,000 because I had no choice. I did not get the kitchen that I wanted. My concept didn't work, and I was rejected by the Board of Health, and it was horrible. I couldn't get out of my lease. So, Brett, when you said that I was a full-blown restaurant, I'm not a full-blown restaurant. I'm only open 4 days a week, sometimes 5. The majority of my business, which is what most people don't know, is private events. While restaurant owners such as Damien and other people in the neighborhood rely on or have a lot of business from tourists, I don't get any tourists. None. Zero. Never. I get corporations. I have Amazon, I have hotels, I have law firms. Probably 2 to 3 days a week, it is a private event. Most likely it's a private event. I opened up the other 3 days only at 7 p.m. for less than 30 people, so I could pay for that ventilation to the roof, and so I could pay for that kitchen that I did not want. So no one told me I had to go back to the board, and I apologize for that. But as a first-time business owner, I didn't know. I had no idea. So I didn't get what I wanted. My rent went up $1,000. My vent to the roof cost me 60,000+, and I got the kitchen that I never wanted in a concept that I didn't want, and I couldn't get out of my lease. So that's what happens. And again, I apologize for not coming back, but no one told me I had to. I had absolutely no idea as a rookie and as a first-time business owner. So that's exactly what happened.
Thank you, Jen, for your explanation. I appreciate it. Just getting some clarification. I'm sorry to have mischaracterized you as a full-blown restaurant. I'm just saying that you're open for the public. That's all. So that was the only intent that I was making.
Yeah, I'm also open to the public. I'm reservation only. I don't take walk-ins.
I know.
And I have 32 seats. I very rarely have 32 seats filled. I didn't have a liquor license for 6 months, so it was a major struggle. It was very stressful. Again, not that anybody cares, but for me to not be able to have what I wanted, and my lawyer, Tom, will attest to this. You know, I had to get a private event liquor license just to serve alcohol to my private events. And again, Tom will attest to this. The majority of my business was and still is private events. You guys just don't hear about it. You know, there's no, at 7 o'clock on a Saturday, because I'm reservation only, you know, nobody knows whether or not that's a law firm or the general public. You know, 3 days a week, I'm most likely a private event. So it sort of changed, but it sort of didn't, you know?
Okay.
So Jen, I have
Yeah.
a question. So why do you want to expand into this whole nother business then? It seems like you went through a lot of hardship. So
I know.
why?
Well, that's a great question. So what a lot of people don't know is that the space next door, we're actually attached in the back. So I don't know. I mean, that's a great question. You know, the current restaurant that I have, it just doesn't feel enough for me, you know, personally. And then when my landlord called me and said that Allison wasn't renewing, you know, I was in the middle of COVID and, you know, we were doing a ton of takeout, and, you know, a light bulb just kind of went off in my head. And to be honest with you, I was planning on moving back to New York and getting out of my lease. I have a 5-year option. And so I kind of just looked at my mom and I said, you know, I know you're getting older and dad's not around, and, you know, maybe it's not best that I go back to New York. However, you know, I need more, I need something else. And she said, well, maybe you should, you know, meet with your landlord and talk about next door, because takeout's been going so well for you.
Jen, actually, I have a question for you. Did you meet with the landlord and talk about next door, or did Allison say to the landlord that she wasn't coming back? How exactly did you acquire that space to help save your business?
What do you mean save my business?
You're saying you were about to move to New York.
I said in 5 years.
Jen meant that at the end of her term, she wasn't going to exercise the option. She was considering moving back once her lease expired.
Yeah.
Sure. So how did you acquire that space? Did the landlord offer it to you once Allison had said she was leaving, even though she doesn't have another space? Or did you work with the landlord to acquire that space?
The landlord called me and said, I don't know if you would be interested, but Allison's on a year-to-year, and I'm not looking for anybody to do 1-year options anymore. He said, I want to offer her a 5-year, and if she doesn't accept, is that something that you would be interested in? And I said, God, I don't know. I said, maybe. I said, I never really thought about it. And then COVID happened. And again, Tom will attest to this. I said no. And then he moved on and put a for rent sign in the window. And then, you know, I sat with my lawyers and I said, Tom, what do you think I should do? And he said, I don't think you should do it. And I said, you know what? I don't either. And I actually said to Tom, this is kind of cheesy. I said, if you were my father, what would you tell me to do? And he said, I would tell you not to do it. And I said, okay, I'm not going to do it. And then the sign went up, and then I kind of saw people walking by and taking pictures of it. And I started to panic. And I said, well, what if what if something goes next door that, you know, doesn't really complement my side? And I don't know. I thought about it, and then we just started killing the takeout business. And then I called the landlord and I said, hey, is there any way that you and I could meet again? I kind of want to revisit next door. And he said, well, you already said no. And he said, you know, I don't want you to waste my time or, you know, Phil's time across the street, because is renting it out and he's showing it. And I said, well, let me look at it and let me see what it looks like. I had never been in there. And then we went and I looked at it, and I think I met with him, maybe Tom, a week later. And then we came to terms maybe another week later. He gave me a deadline, and then I kind of backed out again. And then he gave me 3 days. He said, you have 72 hours to give me a deposit. He's like, otherwise it's going back on the market and I can't deal with you because you're too wishy-washy. Well, that's kind of what happened.
Great. Thank you for that story.
Of course.
So let me ask you, so Jen, now it's a restaurant as well, right? Besides private events?
My current space?
Yes, the current space.
Yes.
All right. But, okay, it's a mix of private and it's a mix of public. So you're open as a restaurant. Did you get ADA approval and all that? Or were you grandfathered in? Do you
I
have,
got ADA.
and what's the accessibility next door when you open there as well?
I got ADA approval. I don't know about next door. That's actually a good question. I just asked Virgil about that last week. But I have, I know that they put in a handicap button for both sides. I have one on my side, and I'm pretty sure I saw some electrical outside for another button. And then my ADA approval, I went through that whole process, and I had a temporary ramp built for my space. And I do believe that it works for the space next door as well.
Excellent.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone on the council?
Yeah, I have more of a comment and a question. So, Jen, I've met you, been to your restaurant. I had a great experience. You seem like a great person, but I'm a little bit thrown off by some things that you post on social media on your business page, because I follow you, and it's a little shocking, some of the things that you say. And it kind of has this negative connotation towards the North End and to your neighbors in particular, especially during COVID. And there's literally one post that you say, anybody who knows me, I live my life with 0 expletive, I'll spell it out, FUCKS, given. And you call you basically say that other restaurant owners are making us look like a bunch of expletive. And it's just a little disturbing to hear that from a business owner on a business page, not even your personal page.
It wasn't on my business page. It was on my personal page. And can you just tell me what this has to do with my new business?
Because it poorly represents our neighborhood as a business. And I have a screenshot. It is on your business page, Table North End.
So what I would request is that we just will not acknowledge that as part of the project, a condition for this project. I want to keep all voting and all decisions made strictly on the merits of the project and the merits of the existing project coming together. Again, this is about extending the use. I want to keep it this way right now. I asked for an explanation from Jen. Jen has provided it. We have asked on the whole process of what transpired to make table and what has transpired over the past few months. So I would just like to just kind of reel it back in a little bit right now. And
Brett, can I just clarify? Again, I've been to the restaurant. I liked it. I'm just curious as to why, just can you explain why you post that? And like, because we love our neighborhood, we love everybody. And I just didn't expect that. So can you just reassure us that you're going to be a good neighbor?
I am a good neighbor. How am I a bad neighbor?
Well, because like I said, you called out some other restaurant owners.
First of all, I did not call out anybody specifically. That's number one. And number two, Ashley, we had a Zoom meeting with the licensing board because many restaurants were not doing things properly.
Right, and it's their responsibility to regulate that, not.
Right, and I
yours.
have, and that was disheartening to me because I do play by the rules and I have 4 tables and it's been really hard and really stressful, Ashley.
Oh,
And
trust me, I know.
you know what? Unless
I'm
you
in
own a
the business.
restaurant,
So
unless
I
you own a
understand
restaurant-
that. I understand that this
Ashley
is
does
something
own a
that.
restaurant. Ashley does own a restaurant.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
I don't know
Yeah.
who she is. I apologize, but
No,
I am-
it's okay. Listen, I
everybody.
don't want
All
you to
right,
get.
that's it. That's it. I'm muting everyone. This is it. Tom is trying to speak. I'm not getting this back and forth. This is it. Tom, please speak.
I understand that this is, we are at a point where a lot of people are frustrated by a lot of this, and we all know what happened in the North End, and Jen chose to speak. She spoke out about that on her Twitter page, and that is, something that is, and whether it was her personal page or her restaurant's page, it does, make it is something visible to everybody. That being said, it is a discussion that can be had. I'm just not sure this is the forum for it. This is the point of this is, as Brett has said, to discuss the proposal in and of itself, and we're happy to do that as much as possible. We'll answer whatever questions you have about that. We can find a time to, I will happily find a time for Ashley and Jen to speak about anything else. I'll set it up myself. And I understand the concerns, but I don't think this is the correct forum for it. That's what I was going to say.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. So Tom, speaking to the contents of the project, the merits of the project, the downstairs. So if you share the plan again, if you don't mind.
Yep. Sorry. Give me 1 second.
Yep.
Where'd it go? There it is. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this plan is only for the first floor because the basement is storage. Nothing's going in the basement. It's not accessible to customers. It is just purely business operations.
Okay. So if you look at that back corner with the downstairs, so the back staircase is what connects them both down underneath the building.
My understanding is, well, that goes down to the basement area which is accessible to both units. They meet kind of in the middle there. And then there's actually an egress. I believe there's an emergency egress back that way as well. So it's, they're connected in that way.
Okay.
And that's where the food from 445 would come through.
Okay. Perfect. So I see deli counters anywhere, not deli counters, but all right.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's listed as like cakes, but that's just the name of the type of display. It's not, not, as you saw from the menu, which I can show again, it's not proposed to be a bakery.
Okay. All right, perfect. I'm going to open it up to additional questions on the plan, the business, anything. Anyone in the comments? If you could actually just stop your sharing your screen.
Absolutely. Yep. Sorry.
Perfect.
Brett, I would just like to say, now hearing Tom's proposal, Ashley has every right to speak, and comments about or asking people if they're going to be a good neighbor is absolutely relevant, and she should not have been silenced on that one. And I see that as a failure on your part there, Brett.
Okay, that's fine. I appreciate that. All I'm trying to do is keep this as a civil discussion about the contents and the merit of the project.
Absolutely, but listen, you can't come to the kitchen without a little bit of heat, right? And we've always made sure that we put our constituents first. If that was Ashley's way of doing it and making sure that every stone goes unturned, then that's her right as a council member, and she shouldn't be silenced for that.
Okay,
So
may I, in my defense, as now we're getting off topic on this, I do want to just say that to the point was we were talking about who was posting what on what page, on where's page. I completely defend and respect Ashley.
Yeah, back
and
of
questioning,
course, back and forth.
I completely agree with the fact, the merits and the character of an applicant coming before the neighborhood. If they're not caring about the neighborhood, if they're not showing respect, I am completely
satisfied.
with Tanya, Tanya, between you, Ashley, anyone else on this call that wants to judge the character of an applicant coming before the council, I am all for that. I completely recommend that. I want that. I want us to sit there and be a neighborhood that sits there and looks at the character of everyone. That's how we also have to weigh that into the factor, is if this is the matter of trust or something that we can count on being a good neighbor and responsible in this neighborhood to reflect the values and the moral principles of the neighborhood. So the only reason why I silenced it was because it was going back and forth about where was this posted. I just needed that to end. That had nothing to do with it. If you want to talk about the content, I'm all for it. We're all for that. I'm all for open discussion on this.
I think that explanation was needed for the public and both for Ashley's sake as well.
Perfect.
So I appreciate that and I take it.
Hey,
Yes.
Can I say something, please? Or am I muted? Can I say something?
Yes, David, you can go ahead.
You know, I don't follow Twitter or anything like that, but I know that a lot of fellow restaurant owners have said that Ms. Royle is very abrasive. And every time I've come before a board, and you can ask Marie Simboli because she's been on every board that I've ever come on, no matter what, I was always asked if I was going to be a good neighbor. So, you know, maybe the first time I was offended a little bit because I want to be a good neighbor and I consider myself one, but I kept getting asked, and I hope I keep getting asked every time I do something. Having said that, Bill Ferrulo came before us because a plan changed, and they knew they had to go before the neighborhood boards to come with a new plan. I just don't understand how your attorney did not advise you and tell you that you had to go before the board again.
I didn't have an attorney at the time.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Yes, Marie, please.
I think the way she explained herself is she was trying to say to you that she was a rookie and she didn't know any better. If that excuses her, I really don't know, because usually everybody, when there's a change of plan, tries to come back at the board. But that's done. That's in the past. So why don't we just go forward? And yes, Damien, you are an excellent, and I say that proudly, a good neighbor. So can we get to the bottom of this meeting?
Yes, Marie, we can.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Marie.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'll let it be here for any other questions. I'll take one more question, then I'm just gonna wrap this up for a vote. Okay. So I'm concluding the presentation.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
You know, I'm very stubborn, and it's very rarely that I say this, but I tail between my legs. I apologize. And now I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I'm a former sports radio host, and I'm not sure that that career of mine went well into the restaurant business. You know, I used to answer calls on WEEI. I've been harassed in locker rooms, and it's no excuse, but, you know, I think sometimes I forget that I'm not only representing myself, but I am representing my business and a city and a neighborhood. And it's been difficult. It's been difficult to not talk like a sports reporter. It's been difficult to not talk like I have a radio show. And I think I have to remember that. And I sincerely apologize if I if I truly offended anybody. I love having my business in the North End. I do think I'm a great neighbor. And, you know, I also did post, I had a long in-person meeting with Nick Verano. He came down and he talked to me, and, you know, we had a long chat. He brought me flowers the next day, and he said, I understand that it's difficult and it's stressful and you're a new restaurant owner. And oh, I was sobbing. It was embarrassing. And I think I have a lot to learn. I do. And, you know, I sincerely apologize if I did offend anybody, but, you know, it's, you know, I have played by the rules, and my restaurant has been safe during COVID. And it was really upsetting to have a warning on my restaurant because of other people. And again, I think I have to learn that I am not a sports radio host anymore. And that's just a growing process for me. So I think a lot of people don't know about my background, and I mean, I covered the NFL and Major League Baseball, and I was on the radio, and it was my job to be a shock jock. And again, I think I have a lot to learn in that aspect. So I apologize.
Thank you, Jen. I really appreciate that explanation. It
You're
makes
welcome.
me feel better.
Yeah,
And
of course. And I'd love
again,
for you to come down and
didn't
talk with me, you know?
No, absolutely. And I
love
didn't,
that.
I mean, I wasn't like purposely trying to call you out. It was just
No,
on your
I
business.
know.
It
You
was
have
on your
every right
business
to.
page. It was on your business page. It wasn't on your personal page. And I follow your business page, and I follow a lot of the North End business pages. So I was
Okay,
so
well,
alarmed.
I don't
to
run
see
my
that.
business page. I don't run my business page. So I know I definitely did not do that. But if it was there, I take responsibility because I am the business, but I don't run that page.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to send it to you, and
I
obviously whoever
apologize.
posted it should.
Yeah, you know,
be-
why don't you DM me? I'll give you my cell phone, and I would absolutely, I don't know who you are, but if anything, maybe I could learn from you, if anything. You know, I've never had anyone say to me, Jen, I have a restaurant. Welcome to the neighborhood. Let's talk. I don't know. I've never spoken to anybody about anything. The only person that welcomed me to the neighborhood was Carla Gomes. She came down and sat with me and brought me a tree. I really don't know. I'm learning as I go, and I'm screwing up as I go as well, you know, but I'm also successful in some ways. But again, I have a lot to learn, and I'm sure I could learn from you, and I would love for you to come down and sit with me. It would actually mean the world to me.
All right. So thank you, everyone. I just want to say that just reiterate, Ashley and Tanya, I mean, a lot of the frustration on this council comes from people that make proposals. Jen, this is not speaking to you in general. You just have to understand that a lot of the issues that we have is a lot of times we hear proposals, they get voted in, they get changed on the second look. We don't get involved in the process. Sometimes we feel out of the loop in the process, and this is all about John's been doing a great job since coming in. Maria was doing a great job since stepping in. It's just, we want to make sure that we're being heard on this council. We're here because we care about the neighborhood. We care about like this neighborhood a lot. And as you can see, we're very passionate about it, and we really do want to see the right people, good people that care and want to contribute and be good members of this neighborhood, be in this neighborhood, and run their business successfully. So I do want to thank Ashley, Tanya, Jen. Thank you for speaking up and having this conversation on this and showing the passion all around on it. But with that all said, I do want to wrap this up for a vote. The only thing I do want to bring back up, passing on from this proposal, is I want to go back to, I do have a Michael Grillo on the line here, who, I don't know if Michael Della Russo, if you're still on the call, there's just one question I do want to just have asked, since Michael was unable to, since he was muted before. To just ask Michael Della Russo. Michael, if you can speak to that. So I'll let Mike Grillo, if you can speak. Are you on? Can you ask your question? So here, I'll read Michael's question here. So since the head house nearly doubled in size with no approval from abutters, what assurances are there that the new head house is reinforced and won't topple, given how much higher it is and sticks out by itself?
We already had engineers draw all the plans and had them submitted.
All right.
So it's not going to get any bigger. It's not going to topple. It's going to, I mean, actually, ultimately, the elevator shaft is what holds the whole building together.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
I'm sorry, who asked that question?
Michael Grillo from Endicott Street.
Okay. All right, Mike.
Yeah, so if Mike, yeah, if you're there, Michael, if he can give you any contact information, if you want to reach out to him, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I mean,
My
in the chat.
office is on North Street. We're always open. You know, you have any questions or you want to take a tour through the building, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, perfect.
Right, I'm sorry. Can I just ask one other question to Jen before we vote? Jen, Tina Natali here. I just have a really quick question. If there are any changes to your current plan, would you be willing to come in front of us again to propose them?
Hi, Tina. I think I learned my lesson. Yes, absolutely.
Thank
And I
you.
have a lawyer. He wouldn't let me, he would make me, he would advise me to go. I didn't have a lawyer the last time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's what I'm here for, to keep, and, you know, I appreciate everyone here, you know, their time and their effort and getting Jen to state that she needs to learn things too. And she's no longer a sports reporter. I appreciate that coming out of this meeting. But yes, no, we're here to, I'm here to make sure she keeps the neighborhood informed, among other things, and makes the appropriate filings, which almost all include coming back to you guys. So any changes, you will be made aware, I promise.
Right, perfect. Thank you, Tom. All right, so without further ado, what I'm going to do is, let me just close out here. So we're gonna take vote on 10 Endicott Street, petitioner Michael Della Russo seeking to extend existing elevator to stop at existing roof deck for ADA accessibility. I'll start just based on what I have on my screen right here. So I'll start with Michael Salvati.
Yes.
Tina Natali.
I support.
Excellent, thank you. Carmen Guarino. That looks like an I support. All right, so it's, I'm getting head notion here.
I support.
Perfect, thank you. Marie Simboli.
I support.
Kevin Fleming.
I support.
Ashley Leo.
Support.
Jody Fowler.
Support.
Kevin Drew. Are you still here, Kevin?
Yep,
Kevin, you
support.
good? Support. Okay,
Yep.
we're good. All right, perfect. Rory Harrington.
Yes, support.
Tanya Green.
Support.
All right. So supported 11-0. I don't believe I missed anyone, right? Going across the screen. All right. So unanimously supported 11-0. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Okay. So 441 to 444 Hanover Street, Table Mercato. Petitioner seeking to change occupancy of 441 Hanover Street to include takeout use to operate in the same building and in connection with existing restaurant. Dare to Tay's Table by Jen Royle at 445 Hanover Street. Work will include the installation of 2 deli cases, countertops, new lighting, replacing sinks, and refinishing the floors. Existing CV license with malt, wine, and beer will cover the space at 441 Hanover Street for the proposed takeout market. Jody Fowler.
Support.
Tina Natali.
Support.
Rory Harrington.
I support.
Carmen.
Support.
Ashley.
Support.
Marie Simboli.
Support.
Michael Salvati.
Support.
Tanya.
Support.
Kevin Drew.
Support.
Kevin Fleming.
Support.
Congratulations, Jen. You've been supported unanimously, 11-0.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all for your time. Again, this is a reminder that our next meeting will be held September 14th. We will not be meeting in August. Our next meeting will be September 14th, but NEWNC and NEWRA will be holding a joint meeting again next Wednesday, July 22nd at 6 p.m. So please stay tuned for more details on that. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, everyone.